largest fermentation tanks, so you're not going to find these at every brewery that you may visit. Okay? We call these the combi tanks because they do a combination of things. We use these tanks for our fermentation as well as using them for storage tanks. We have 26 of these tanks. They hold approximately 720,000 litres of beer in each. And we have 12 smaller tanks behind these big ones and goes all the way across down the corridor that holds about 146,000 litres. And the bright beer tanks, which we'll get to see later on, holds approximately 330,000 litres of beer. Okay, I'll just go through the fermentation processes with you. Now you know the wort's gone through the brewing stage, it's gone through the cooling down stage. They've started adding the yeast into that wort. Will fall into one of these tanks. 5 batches, I believe, will fill up one of these tanks, and of course you need to have the room up the top for the CO2 build-up as well. So now the yeast will go through eating all the sugars and of course producing the alcohol and CO2. So fermentation process is between 5 to 7 days. Temperature is between 15 to 18 degrees. Okay? You probably notice the dimple jackets around. That one on the right-hand side is iced up because different stages of production as well as all the different brands that we brew here. Okay? So once the fermentation has ceased, we lower the temperature down to about 4 degrees. Because it's really cold, the yeast has done its job, it's going to start falling to the bottom of the tank. So the bottom of the tank is like a Y-shaped funnel, and of course you've got the yeast sitting on the bottom. The yeast is removed and stored, waiting to go into a next batch. Once the yeast is removed, they lower the temperature down to say about -1 degrees, goes through a lagering stage. It's a German word for storage stage. Okay, so the beer is basically stored for approximately 2 to 3 weeks. It settles. CO2, because it's lighter, will rise to the top of the tank. That CO2 is sucked out and removed and stored. Okay, so these are all the natural processes that the beer making has gone through. Once that's done, they'll transfer the beer all the way up to cellar service area, goes through the diatomaceous filtration system, goes through the chilling system, and again it goes through the trap filters. And then it's transferred all the way down to the bright beer tanks, which is the finished product. The CO2 that they removed from the beer is reintroduced back into the beer as it's transferred down to the bright beer tanks. Okay? You sort of kind of follow that? Any questions at this stage?